Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, what I've discovered is that Kenyans can actually differ in so many things politically. But for this case of Margaret Nduta, looks like all Kenyans are united. And this is not tribal. People don't care about the tribe right now. So, Margaret Nduta, because the information about her execution has not been communicated, we still believe that she is safe. There are all chances that she might be brought back, probably, jailed here in Kenya under the Kenyans laws, especially after Kenya made a move of sending a delegation there. And I think most of you right now know what really happened because Kenya dispatched a delegation to the Vietnam. Now, there's something that we need to look at. I've seen people blame William Ruto. I think it's not the right time to blame the president over this mess. I've seen on TikTok videos that Uhuru reached out to to Vietnam's president, talked about this issue, and has secured I think, is it release? I've seen such kind of videos. Take note of this. I stumbled upon a story about a 76-year-old grandma who also was met with the same predicament. Because a woman, I think she was an Australian, a woman had given her a present that was in soap, some bars of soaps, but she never knew that in those soaps kulikuwa na madawa ya kulevya. And her sentence was again execution to death, lethal injection. So this is not the first time the Vietnamese are doing this, and the world is afraid of these laws in Vietnam. They have done this to Americans, other countries, and even Vietnamese themselves. So this is the right time to stop propaganda and focus on Nduta. Now, focusing on Nduta, PS Singoi told us that there are the delegation, I think from Thai, is it Bangkok, Thai there, who were sent to Vietnam to try to talk to the Vietnamese government for a repatriation. I think this is what Kenyans are all talking about, repatriate Nduta to Kenya so that she can face the full force of the law here in Kenya. I think that's going to provide a better opportunity for Kenyans to also know who were behind this syndicate. Simply hanging or injecting lethal injection on drugs on Nduta is not going to solve the problem. How many other innocent girls or Kenyans are going to face a similar predicament? Because, now everybody seems to be talking about working in overseas. But what about if you're caught up in such a mess? Because right now the world believes that Nduta is a victim. Not a culprit, but a victim. He was someone took advantage of the fact that she did know what she was doing. She was given a luggage to carry. That is what we know. And we also know that there was an agent who complicated these travel issues for her. They were to travel together. This agent suddenly pulled out of that trip. And also, if you go by the estimation of what Nduta was carrying, I understand it was that drug worth almost 20 million. So if they gave Nduta around 170,000, take a look at this. How much were they left with? If they spent only $1 million to facilitate for Nduta's travel to and fro, they were going to be left with around 19 million. So we should be focusing on the move by the Kenyan government. So I want us to dig deep into this story, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about this trip, talk about what the Vietnamese are going to benefit, because they have something. They will be demanding for something from the Kenyan government. So before I escalate this analysis, ladies and gentlemen, kindly like this video. It is so important if you like this video, because that is the only way YouTube shares our content. Subscribe to our channel if you had not subscribed before, and to existing subscribers, thank you so much for your support. One thing that we need to also agree on, why maybe we don't have a Vietnamese embassy and an embassy there in Vietnam, probably if maybe we had not stopped William Ruto from the normal numerous tours that he was embarking on, maybe we would have had an embassy there. As it stands, Vietnam can take advantage of this situation to force a deal with the Kenyan government. Why? Because we don't have a consulate there. They can use that advantage to force Kenyans to now strike a deal. And Kenyans will do it. Right now, what we want is Nduta to be brought back at all costs. We might even be forced to pay fine. We will pay fine just to protect Nduta. I was going through certain postings somewhere. Let me just take you through the posting. I mean, you'll be shocked. Someone mentioned something. I mean, this Kenyan, I won't say it's from Kikuyu origin or Mount Kenya. This is just a Kenyan. But this Kenyan said, if Nduta is saved by Dr. Ruto government, we will forgive him all lies he used to promise us. I mean, right now, if William Ruto's government weighs in like it has already weighed in and secures a repatriation for Margaret Nduta, let me tell you the truth. Kenyans will start looking at the government na huruma kidogo. This is what we are told by someone by the name Kingeno, Josephat Bet. I mean, yeah, of course, the name, you can tell the rest. But the big question here is this. Why didn't someone facilitate an appeal on this? We also saw what happened to Besigye. I mean, let us be honest, ladies and gentlemen. We saw what happened with Besigye. When Besigye was abducted, or rather we can say kidnapped or arrested, our own Martha Karua went to Uganda to defend. And we saw how she defended Besigye. So I'm looking at this scenario of a Kenyan arrested in Vietnam. The year is 2023. She's put on custody for 1 year in Comunicado based on what we gathered. After this 1 year, the case is heard once and a decision is given in the People's Court in Vietnam. Time is given for appeal. Nobody appeals, which to my understanding was supposed to be March 12th. Nobody appeals. Then a date for execution arrives. Now Kenyans speak up. The big question is, why couldn't someone appeal? Because that would have protected this matter na maybe Margaret Nduta angekuwa yuko safe kidogo. Despite the fact that the Vietnamese government has not proceeded with its move to actualize, the plan as per their constitution, that is giving us a sigh of relief. Maybe that is an indication that there is advanced talks between the Kenyan government and Vietnamese government. The Vietnamese government is talking to the Kenyan government, not to the former president. The former president, based on my understanding, can only be used to represent Kenya if appointed by William Ruto. He cannot speak for Kenya. I don't think that's possible, but I'm just saying that maybe if maybe what people are saying in everywhere is true, then sour. Lakini to my understanding, because the government had already launched this matter, if at all Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta intervened in the matter, then it must have been through the blessing of the President of the Republic of Kenya. I am just assuming that that could have been the case. Because as you speak, this is a government-to-government issue, and Vietnam have an interest in Kenya. They will want Kenya to do something. I don't think it's going to be money paid in some form of fine, but I'm going to think it's going to be some bilateral agreement between the two nations. They can use this advantage because the president is under siege to have Margaret Nduta repatriated. So if that is the case, they can utilize this advantage to push the Kenyan government to do something. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen. Just go below in the comment section and tell us what you think about this matter. Do you think Vietnam can take advantage of this situation? Because As at the time I was doing this video, there was no communication about that execution. So to my understanding, it had not been done. So ladies and gentlemen, perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.